What is going on, everyone? Joey Franzo here with Flex Training Systems. As you can see, I am clearly not to be seen. I am clearly not on camera. That is because I have been very, very busy lately, and I've just had some thoughts kind of cooking in my mind. A lot of cool things going on. A lot of new people, on the team. The team has been steadily growing, and basically, really just me finding the space for them, and managing my time in a way that allows me to help as many people as I can without, compromising my effectiveness. But we have been very effective as of late. The team has been killing it. I am, a lot of you guys are going to hear this. I'm very, very proud of each and every one of you guys, especially coming into this Arnold. Huge milestones going down, literally at all levels. So that is great. That is awesome, and I'm very thankful to be a part of all of your journeys to greatness, the platform, whatever you want to call it. Just getting better, right? Anyway, minute 25 seconds, and we still haven't got to the topic of the video. Today, we're going to be talking about different kinds of lifters and sort of the mentality or behaviors of some of these lifters, and how you can kind of identify with, which kind of lifter you are. And then hopefully throughout this video, and then by the end of it, you'll kind of see something that I've seen, and it will hopefully make you a better lifter in terms of the way that you approach training moving forward. And I am going to throw in very quickly at the end of the video, I'm just going to answer a question about my squatting recently, because people ask me this very frequently, so I'm just going to throw it in there. So if you want to hear about heels versus flats, stay to the very end. Anyway, here we go. Two types of lifters, right? You have very simple way to put it. You have doers and thinkers, or you have people that, they just kind of, they don't really, not question, but they just kind of execute the plan, and they don't really worry about anything else. And you can kind of arrive at that point, or you can just be that way. It's something that I've, definitely noticed. And we'll start with thinkers first. We'll start with doers first, because I would say they are almost kind of better off, but like they're good in terms of they don't freak out too much about many things, and they just kind of roll with the punches and get things done. So doers, they they'll go throughout their training blocks. We'll talk about the beginning of the training block leading into a competition. And they don't really question or worry about the fact that they experience fatigue, whether that's from training, whether that's from life, whether that's from maybe they get a small injury. They don't really let anything kind of sway them from moving forward towards the goal, because they're not really thinking about minutia, and if they do, it is very minimal. But the train is never derailed, right? The train is always moving forward. The train is constantly moving towards, the destination. There's no, switching things up whenever you start to feel resistance. This is a very common thing with newer lifters. They start a random program, and they, it starts to get hard, and they stop that program and they try another one. You end up not going anywhere, and part of strength training is understanding that getting stronger is a process, and there is a time and place to be strong. And if you are really focused on improving, then I believe you need to plan a time when you want to display your strength, whether that be in 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 6 months, whatever, and plan accordingly, right? And there's a lot that goes into that. But doers don't really think about that stuff. They just kind of they execute the plan. They do what they're told. They do what they're told, but I'm thinking more so like when a football coach is telling the players what to do, the coach is the coach, and you really don't have a say. I try to always listen to the feedback from the lifter, and their feedback is very, very important. But point being, they don't think as much. They worry about what matters, and they get to the bag. They get to the destination. They get to where they need to go, right? And because they're not thinking so much, they don't have all this extra baggage, all these extra question marks clawing at them, grabbing their ankles, pulling them down, and making them double or second guess everything, right? It's not that they're mindless. They are like mildly, like there is a part of training that I think should be kind of mindless, especially meet day. If you do things right, meet day, you shouldn't really have to think too much. You just go out there and lift, right? Especially if you have someone there handling you. But they can focus on what matters, and they don't need to really worry about the little stuff, right? This is a very common issue with thinkers or people that are highly obsessed with, data, and we'll get into that. But yeah, that's pretty much doers. You see this kind of mentality in, just very high level performing athletes. They just focus on getting the job done and get it done, and don't really worry about outside noise or anything else that's going on. And that is a trait that is very, very difficult to give to someone that isn't already like that. But I do believe you can transition into a doer. But I think part of that has to do with understanding why, like you understand why, so and you go through that process a couple times, and then you can just like roll with it, if that makes sense. I hope I'm making sense here. It's kind of a difficult thing to explain. It's not something that can really be it's almost intangible, right? And I think intangible keys, you could call them, are extremely valuable, very, very powerful. The ability to believe in something and trust in it and know that it will get you to where you want to go is incredibly, incredibly powerful. I believe it is one of the most powerful things that us humans can do. Even people that are extremely religious, whether you believe in religion or not, somebody's ability to believe in something, whether that's their coach, whether that's fucking whatever, whether they believe in something and just let it empower them because of that belief, that is incredibly strong. And I think that sort of ability to have that belief, that just trust in the process, that trust in whatever it is that you're going through and whoever it is that you need to trust in, right? You can see how I can relate this to coaching. That trust and belief is so powerful, and it's extremely difficult to, you can give somebody a program, right? You can have the best program in the world designed by fucking SpaceX artificial intelligence, right? But if you don't have the belief in the program, then no matter or just everything or the essence of that program, then you're not going to get anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. I've said this before, I can give someone the greatest program ever. I can spend 5 hours on it, right? And you might not get anything from it if you don't believe in it, Alrighty, transitioning into thinkers, right? Overthinking, right? I have videos on my channel, if you haven't seen them, a couple of different videos on overthinking. I think this is the first time I've heard it coined like this was my buddy Brian Miner. I'm sure he heard it somewhere else. But shout out to Brian Miner. He is a coach too. Analysis. So it's like paralysis via overanalysis. I can't even fucking speak right now. Sorry. Analysis. Paralysis, right? So basically you're overanalyzing everything to the point where you don't actually get anywhere, right? That is the biggest, way to kind of characterize or define somebody who overthinks. You're thinking about too many different variables that essentially they matter, but they really don't, right? Like, this is part of why I love using RPE, and I think RPE is genius. And I think that the way that I use it might be slightly different than a lot of other people. I've seen a lot of scientific, people try to kind of put a set definition on what RPE is. I see it as just a way of prescribing stress, right? Because the body doesn't care about 315, 365, 405, whatever. It doesn't understand, finite numbers. It just knows stress. It knows this was hard enough to get me to move forward. Like, this is hard enough, so I should elicit a response to that stress to help me move forward, right? It doesn't care about what the number is. And I think when we can remove our emotional attachment to specific numbers and just focus on, like, training and, finding that right stress, which, somewhere in the RPE 5 to 9 range, right? That's to be decided by a coach, right? Then we can really just not worry about so many small things and do what's in front of you, attack it, kill that training, go home, recover, worry about that kind of stuff instead of like little tiny things like how many minutes should I rest between sets? I've rested from 4 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. Literally taken 15 minutes between sets, and it's been marginally different. In a meet, that's going to vary, right? So, the obsession with rest time between sets has always kind of baffled me because on meet day, it's going to change anyway. You know what I mean? There's a very broad area in which we need to get work done, or kind of the way that we approach things doesn't need to be exact to be effective. That's one of the great things about RPE. So people that overthink, right? They say, I need to hit this number. I need to do that number. I need to hit this total by this date at this competition, right? Why not, focus on giving the best that you have every day, taking what's there on the day, not risking, right? You want to, that's why we say stay in the pocket. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm going to break it down for you right now. Staying in the pocket is the first time I heard it in reference to lifting was by my buddy Alberto Nunez. I call him Yoda sometimes. I just love being around him. He's always dropping little gems here and there. But I guess I was lifting heavy one day, and he was like, that wasn't even that heavy. It was like in the pocket or something, right? So what does it mean to be in the pocket? To be in the pocket, we think of Tom Brady. We think of a quarterback, right? When there is pressure, when there are outside things coming in to attack you, right? And you get nervous and you freak out, or you overstep a little, you scramble. What does the quarterback do? They scramble, right? So they exit the pocket. They leave the pocket that they're at, and they might get sacked. They might mess up. They might whatever. Staying in the pocket just means, sticking to your training, sticking to your guns, doing what's written, having the mental, I believe this is mental toughness, right? The self-control to come into the gym and say, damn, I could have hit 650 for a triple, but I stopped at that double because that double was that was pushing it, right? And it was getting closer to, RPE 10, potentially Snap City, right? We want to avoid Snap City at all costs, right? I'm using myself as an example here. If you guys saw what I put up recently, everybody's like, oh, you had another rep. Yeah, of course I had another rep. I know I had another rep. But we don't, squat is the lift that if you were going to stay in the pocket for it more than any other lift, definitely, especially because of the way a meet works, kind of how momentum works. If you just save that 5 kilos, save that 2.5 kilos, hit that squat, boom, you're in the meet, you hit all 3 squats, your chances, I promise you, of hitting all 3, if you hit all 3 squats, your chances of hitting the rest of your lifts in the meet are going to be way higher if you attack it with that same self-control and that same mental toughness, right? Because self-control is mental toughness, because at the end of the day, we're controlling our actions. But anyway, back to overthinking. Overthinkers tend to set an expectation of themselves that may or may not be unreasonable. It's usually unreasonable, right? Especially in a high-pressure situation, they may feel like they need to prove themselves. They may feel like they're in a hurry to put up a big total, whatever. They want the big total now, when really, if they just kind of stay in the pocket, hold the ball a little bit longer, Wait for that right opportunity. They will kill their goals, absolutely destroy their goals, and it's going to be easy, right? When you approach your training with that same mental resolve, you're literally doing the same thing that you've done for months and months and months on the platform. So there's no reason to freak out. There's no reason to let anything, at that meet affect what you're going to do, except for, your final deadlift of the day. I believe it was Dan Green who said something like, hit your first 8, like plan your first 8, with, you have obviously a room for deviation depending on how you feel in the day. And then if you need to go for something, it's going to be on your 9th lift, right? So hit all 8, and then on your 9th one, you can push for what you needed to push. I've said this story 1,000 times. At this last nationals, I hit all my first 8 lifts, very safe, very, get into the Arnold. Boom, we did that. And then on my 9th lift, I said, okay, what do I want now, right? There's nobody on my ass. I've already achieved the goal. I can free up this one attempt to kind of push for something. I went for it. I completed the lift, but it was technically incorrect, so I got reds. But you kind of have to earn that, is what I'm saying. The first 8 lifts up to that point were literally mindless, right? And that's what we want to kind of give to those overthinkers, right? So those young, ambitious guys that want to hit all these big numbers, that want to just kill everything. We want to take them from that point, right? Teach them, that they can have everything that they've ever wanted from the sport, and even in life almost. If you just like play the long game, play safe, right? And if you there's going to be times when you have to take risks, absolutely. But when it comes to, lifting, like if you keep the train moving forward, eventually you're going to get there, and you can do it without having, like, nobody should ever go 4 for 9, 5 for 9, 6 for 9. I dream of a day when we never have to see that ever happen. I don't have to look on Instagram and see somebody had one of those "today didn't go as planned" posts. I believe we're moving in the right direction, and we are eliminating, that just in general from powerlifting. People are learning, people are getting smarter, but we still have work to do. I was reminded very, very much this last week that there are a lot of people out there that think way too much, and we have to teach them to just focus on what matters, which is way easier said than done, so that they can reach the point that I have reached, and that I think everybody should get to with their lifting, and that is, like, powerlifting does not negatively affect me in any way. It used to hurt my quality of life because I was always, dealing with an injury. Like, I remember fucking on my back or fucking on my knees, whatever. Mentally, you're stressed out about so many different things. You have to worry about your weight. You have to worry about this and that. But now it's like nothing hurts aside from the, permanent damage, minimal. I would say it's minimal now, but the damage that was done to my back many, many years ago, which started from me playing football, and lifting incorrectly as a, at a young age, very, very young age, 15, 16. Aside from that, my knees are the best I've ever felt. I have come back from every single knee injury. I've come back from every back injury, My shoulders are great. I've healed through every pec thing that I've ever had, and I've been really fucked up at points in my life. The body can come back from anything, right? So me stressing about any of these little injuries, that could do a whole another video on just injuries alone, but the body will heal. There's no point in me stressing about injuries. Whenever you get an injury, whenever I strain my back, right? Let's say I don't warm up properly on my deadlift because I sit all day and my back gets really tight. Right? You strain something, okay, boom. I know how to approach it. I don't let anything that happens to me through my powerlifting, through my training, affect me negatively in my day-to-day. And that's what I think, is it's worth. Like, you can't even put a price on it. Powerlifting should only, lifting in general should only enhance your life. It should only make you a better person. It should only, like, I enjoy having strength. I enjoy being strong. I enjoy, knowing that at one point a weight that was my max is now a weight I can rep easily, right? It makes you feel like you've accomplished something. When I go into the gym and I have a good day, great, I have a good day, I'm in a good mood. When I go in the gym and I have a bad day, great, I still have a good day because I understand why I'm having that shit day. Shit relative, right? Quotations, air quotations, right? I understand why I'm having that shit, like, it's not even a shitty day. Shitty days are only based on your expectations, which you shouldn't even have in the first place. Yeah, you can have numbers and goals in mind, but when you feel like trash, just call the audible, hit your volume, get better, go home, recover, and next week you'll feel better. You know what I mean? And if it keeps it for too many weeks, like 5 weeks straight or whatever, you tell your coach, he make an adjustment, whatever. Right? Which is extremely rare that would even happen. In the first place, it typically happens when people run something like Smolov or a percentage-based program they've seen on the internet, you know, where there's no, like, feedback. It's just, like, a set thing, and the thing doesn't account for you as an individual. Anyway, takeaways from this long, extremely ranty, yet I hope valuable video. Stay in the pocket. Listen to your body. Don't overthink. Focus on what really matters, right? Don't let anything that happens in the gym affect you negatively, because whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's an injury, whether it's a fatigue, whether it's you have some shit going on outside of the gym and it's affecting your training, it is temporary. I promise you, it is temporary. And eventually, I would like to see people get to a point where their lifting enhances their life and makes them just excited about existing, right? And you know, you could just get so much more out of your training, more like it's you can't buy these things. You can't really buy happiness, right? They say you can't buy happiness. Well, I truly believe that if you approach things a certain way, you can be very, very happy lifting. You can get what you want out of training. You can progress. And I'm like walking around certain things because I don't want to give away certain things. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for making it this far. If you have any questions, you can leave them below. But obviously, if you're one of my people, go ahead and shoot me a message, whatever, and I got you. But I wanted to answer a question. Somebody asked me, "Hey Joey, I noticed you are in wrestling shoes and you used to squat in heels a long time ago. Why did you switch?" The reason I did that is because I feel like I have more power when I'm squatting from my hips versus putting everything on my knees, right? I think flats allow me to use both, but that is a very individual thing. I just personally feel more powerful with power coming from the hips. I'm able to hit more weights that way. You need to find what works best for you. Like a lot of things in powerlifting, it really depends. Depends on the individual. Depends on what you're going through. Alrighty, guys. I hope you understand why I'm not on camera. But I really wanted to put this out. I think if you can get through my rants, I think it really might shed some light and some clarity, as to why, like, if you're having a shit day in training, listen to this video. Maybe you have a better day. Also, I want to give a shout to my buddy James. James, you know who you are. We're talking kind of about this last night, and he gave me some. He put something into words. He took what I was saying, put it into a phrase, and I said that was really good, and it helped kind of inspire this video. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna go deadlift. We are literally 2 weeks and 1 day out from the Arnold. Black Panther comes out tomorrow. Everything is good over here in Flexland. Shout out to the junior, all the juniors that made Worlds, that work with me. So we got Andres, Mikey, and Sophia, and we got Abby, who is still pending. Anyway, thank you guys so much for getting this far. Leave whatever you want in the comments down below, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.